Country roads, take me home to a place I belong. Jared Kelnick and Marco Gonzalez got traded to the Braves. Pour some water out for our traded homies. Jared Kelnick traded to the Atlanta Braves. Marco Gonzalez and Evan White were in that deal as well. Marco was flipped and sent over to Pittsburgh to help rebuild that club. Welcome to Keep It Electric with Tremayne Person, episode 32. For those of you who listen regularly, probably noticed I went without my usual intro today. That is simply because I got something that I need to get off my chest. Trader Jerry, we need some action. This is getting a little out of hand. All you and this front office have managed to do this offseason is lead on and antagonize your fan base. For this offseason so far, I've waited in anticipation with the feeling that they've had something up their sleeve. A big move was on the horizon. I've now come to terms that that move may not be for who we want it to be. Most names we are dying to see in a Mariners uniform are being linked elsewhere. It appears the Mariners fan base has spent a longer time chanting "Come to Seattle" to Ohtani than the front office spent speaking to his agent. I hope I'm wrong, but I might need them to tell me that I'm telling lies on this one. Who knows? The Dodgers confirmed that they met with Ohtani. Does this mean that the Ohtani camp considers this as an act of betrayal, making them no longer a frontrunner in the Ohtani sweepstakes? Does that put the Mariners back in the picture? Probably not. What it does is it probably elevates the chances of Ohtani going to San Francisco, Toronto, or even back with the Angels. It also seems likely that the Mariners are out on the Soto trade. He's heavily rumored to being traded to the New York Yankees. A lineup with Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, that's absolutely terrifying. But the meat of all this, and I really did not want to waste my time talking about this Root Sports deal, but this is a fiasco. This deal, it's a fiasco how this deal is impacting the money that this team has available to spend on the roster. Because quite frankly, and excuse my language, it's a bunch of bullshit. Can we all agree with that? Why would we care about the revenue from a sports network that consistently gets removed from cable and streaming platforms? And then for those platforms that they are available on, there's an absolutely ridiculous upcharge specifically for the Pacific Northwest watchers. They're blacked out. The Mariners are blacked out on the MLB network. It's just crap. The least the front office could possibly do here, the absolute least, is to give us a ball club worth watching. They could give us a reason to pile into T-Mobile Park. They could give Julio, our young star, a reason to not feel like he has to be Superman, a reason to not swing out of his shoes and hit the ball to the moon just to sniff the playoffs. The front office is shedding millions, trading away the culture, erasing the good vibes. I mean, completely. Like, the good vibes are gone. They sent that packing with Gino. They told Kelnick, who for several seasons battled his ass off just to make the club, that this was not the place that he belonged, all because they screwed up a TV deal. You've had the most engaged fan base you've had in years. You got to do something with it. Stop messing with these people. This is not what the fans deserve, so make a move. And for my own sanity, and for the sanity of the rest of the Mariners fan base, please just make a wise one. Okay, let's move on here. The Mariners did not make any selections in the Rule 5 draft today. And actually, two players were selected away from their team, Stephen Kolek and Julio Delone, selected from their roster by other teams that we don't care about, leaving the roster with 36 players on their 40-man roster. So we're saying there is room. A move will happen. I also believe the moves will be happening more frequently, possibly by the end of the week, as everyone is waiting to see where Ohtani decides to go. Once he decides where he's going to go, that will allow other pieces and team decisions to fall into place. A few people reached out to me asking my opinion or prediction for what I think the Mariners are going to do. You know, I used to just hope, just like the rest of us, that we were freeing up space for an Ohtani, a Yamamoto, or Soto. But the reality is, it'll probably be Justin Turner or Cody Bellinger. They both have a relationship with Brant Brown. And maybe if we're lucky, we'll sign Blake Snell. Blake Snell is an ace-level pitcher who wants to play in Seattle. We did trade away the lefty and Marco Gonzalez, so it just would make sense to bring in Snell. That also frees up the opportunity to move one or two of the riches we have in pitching to land a big bat in the middle of the lineup. So there is potential here. Who would that be? I've heard Randy Arozarena's name get thrown into the mix, but I can only imagine that the Rays' asking price could potentially be too big. There's no way I think Arozarena gets here without Gilbert being shipped out to Tampa. We've done business with the Padres. We've done business with the Cardinals before. The Cardinals have riches of bats. They're almost like the opposite of Seattle. They have so many bats. We have so many arms. The Cardinals needs arms. We need bats. It just makes sense. I can also see Jonathan India. His name has been floated around from the Reds. We have worked with the Reds nearly every offseason for the past 4 years, so that's highly likely as well. All in all, I have no clue what these guys have planned. I'm not sure if they even knew what they had planned a few days ago. It seems highly likely that Dipoto and Service are just simply doing what they've said they've been doing. They're just working with what they've been given. They're working with what they got. And what they got may not be enough to satisfy the hunger that the city has for a World Series championship. I really, really, really hope that I'm wrong here. And I hope that the front office can give me some kind of signal to tell me that I'm telling lies.